Coming up this week on Sporting Journal Radio, mandatory polygraphs are BS.
Got me excited for opener, fishing with long rods.
I don't care what the Twin Cities news station show you.
I don't care. Yeah. Answer the phone.
I fish, I hunt, and always will. Broadcasting from the Eau Claire Outdoor Studios. Presented by OnX. Know where you stand with OnX. We're not just a radio show anymore. This is Sporting Journal Radio. That's right. Welcome to the show. My name is Bret Amundson. Thank you for tuning in wherever you're doing it. Maybe you're listening to us on the radio. Maybe you're watching it on YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel right down there. And leave us a comment, too. We'd appreciate it. That's Dan Amundson over there. What's up, Dan?
Hey. Hi.
Hey. That's David Eckhardt over there.
Hello.
So you guys are just full of words today. It's going to be an excellent show. I can feel it. Glad people are tuning in to listen to us talk or me talk.
I forget. Like. Is that what we're supposed to do?
Once in a while.
I forget.
Well, we're going to talk to some other people this week. We've got Eric Meyer talking about the Minnesota Deer and Turkey Classic and what's new at the show this year. They got some really cool stuff. In fact, you guys remember hearing about that? His brother and his sister elk hunting in northwest Minnesota last year?
Yep.
No. Alex Trebek didn't.
No. They shot some
why.
big elk, and they're going to be on display at the Deer Classic this year at Canterbury Park, Shakopee. It's March 8th, 9th, and 10th. I'll be there March 9th. You guys should come join me too. Saturday, 11 to 1. Right inside the entrance, stop by and say hi at the Minnesota Deer and Turkey Classic. So Eric will tell us more about that. Also, Joe Henry. It's still winter at the border. Ice fishing is still going, and we got one eye open on the Rainy River to get ready for spring fishing. So we're going to talk about where things are at for both of those places up at Lake of the Woods. Also, there's some waterfowl migration stuff we want to talk about. It's time to buy some new licenses, and there's a fishing tournament out east, I believe it's out east, where the second and third place finishers were disqualified because they failed polygraph tests, and they both dispute the results of the polygraph. So we'll tell you that story coming up. But first, Dan, who are the sponsors this week?
Invergrove Toyota, the official truck sponsor of Fish Hunt Forever, is Invergrove Toyota. When looking for your new rig, go to Invergrove Toyota. Minnesota Deer and Turkey Classic, like you said, is March 8th, 9th, and 10th at Canterbury Park in Shakopee. Learn more at mndeerclassic.com. Haybell Heights Campground and Resort. Fish out of a snow bear on Devil's Lake. Learn more at haybellheights.com. OnX Hunt, landowner information, public land access, and much, much more. Know where you stand with OnX Hunt. Prairie Sportsman, the new season is underway. Watch episodes anytime, though, at the Prairie Sportsman YouTube channel. Lake of the Woods Tourism. Lake of the Woods is the walleye capital. Plan a trip for this winter, spring, or summer at lakeofthewoodsmn.com. And the Midwest Wild Sheep Foundation annual banquet and fundraiser is March 15th and 16th at the Minneapolis Marriott Southwest in Minnetonka. Learn more at midwestwildsheep.com.
It's that time of year. I usually buy every license that I'm going to need for the rest of the year, minus the federal duck
how's
duck
that
stamp.
Worked out for you?
That burned me one time. I forgot to get that because I buy everything. I even do the walleye stamp validation. I do the turkey stamp, the pheasant and waterfowl, of course, for the state stamps. I get everything now. Fall Canada goose. I get walk-in access validation. I do everything now, and then I usually forget about it. And yes, 1 year, like 10, 15 years ago, I forgot about the federal. I was guiding waterfowl, and I was going to be hunting every day for at least 60 days, and I got a ticket for not having federal duck. I'll go buy it right now. There's clearly I had $1,000 worth of licenses in my pocket. I was not trying to get out of a $15.50 federal duck stamp, because, by the way, that's the best federal program we have here in this country. Buy a federal duck stamp, even if you're not going to hunt. Buy 2 of them. Because almost all the dollars, all the cents go towards habitat. It's an unbelievable program. We need more government programs just like it. So anyway, it's that time of year, so don't forget to buy a new license. The end of the walleye season, I was almost a little confusing this year, it seemed like.
Yeah. I thought it was the end of the month, but it was the last Sunday of the month.
That's usually how it is, I think. This year it just fell later in the week on a Thursday. Leap year's not helping with that. So But it's usually, it's like any season. Season's always, unless it's duck season where it's federally regulated by the limited days, it's usually everything ends on a Sunday. Or pheasant season gets a little weird with the end of the year or whatever, but it's usually everything ends on Sundays, or turkeys, I guess, or Wednesdays. But the more I think about this, the more I'm going to dispute myself. Usually walleye season, fishing season, game fish season ends on Sundays.
Yeah. So you fished the last day of the season this year?
I did.
How'd it go?
Not how we normally do it.
Yeah, you were in a boat.
We fished out of a boat, which was
inland boat. Let's clarify. Normally people are fishing in February on border water boat, but
inland water in
river
a boat
system.
And it got me excited for opener, fishing with long rods and jigs.
You do like the long rods.
Hey now. Did you catch any fish?
Yeah, we caught a pretty good amount of walleyes, a lot of little ones, some little pike, one big pike. So
oh really?
Yeah, it was a fun day.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Got some fish to eat and
perfect.
No way!
Bonus out of a boat this time of year, and you're not on the Mississippi. You know that's it's pretty wild. It's cool. Well, we went up to Hay Bale Heights, Dan and I did, and spent some time on Devil's Lake. And we'll be putting a video out on the Fish Hunt Forever YouTube channel. We caught some walleyes. We were out there with Jordan Berg, of course, hanging out with Lucas Mertens. There's Jordan right there if you're watching this on YouTube. Spent one day chasing walleyes and spent one day chasing perch. And, had a delicious meal of fish. Got some great eaters. And caught a couple of nice fish. Dan, didn't you have one big one up to the hole?
I dumped a big one. It sucked. But
he blamed me for that.
Well, it's always your fault. Yeah. That's okay. You know what happens? It happens. We had a good trip. It was fun. It was my first time fishing out of a snow bear, and I'll tell you what, if I ever go ice fishing again, I want to do it out of a snow bear.
Oh, man.
That was pretty sweet. Nice cabins. I hadn't been to Hay Bale yet, actually, either. I hadn't been to Devils. There was a lot of firsts on the trip, so it was fun. And I think we're going back to Devils in May, and I'm pretty pumped about that. So, should
be fun to go back for open water.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, there's some really big walleyes in that system right now. If you look, I know I kept talking to you about it, Brett. If you look at the NWT results from last fall, there's a lot of big fish in that lake right now. So I'm excited to go get them in May. Hopefully they're up shallow. We were fishing pretty shallow the other day. We were in 8-9 foot and catching walleyes throughout the day, marking fish all day long. And getting them to bite was a little different. It was funny, we had live scope down, and there's a lot of fish we just didn't catch. Yeah. We didn't wreck the lake.
We marked so many fish that we couldn't catch. It was ridiculous. It was crazy, but we caught a bunch of fish and had a great time up there, of course. Hay Bale's great. The cabins are awesome. They got a great spot on the east end of Devil's Lake there.
Look at that cabin.
Yeah. David,
those cabins are awesome.
You probably stayed in that cabin with us. And you know what? And we pulled up. I know we stayed there one year when we were snow goose hunting, and
it stayed there a few times.
It felt like snow goose season when we were there because it was just mud.
Yeah.
And I had the dogs with, of course, so I was like, oh gosh, the dogs can get my new truck all muddy. We got to keep them out of the cabins. We got to keep everything clean. But I had a great trip up there. Watch for the video coming to the Fish Hunt Forever YouTube channel. And speaking of snows, it's about that time.
Yep.
It's about that time.
Getting excited for it.
Yeah. It was crazy. When we were up there at Hay Bale, it was, what is it? It was almost 60, wasn't it? It was 50s.
Monday, yeah.
50s on Monday. And when we got there, when we went up Saturday and fished Sunday and Monday, Sunday there was no darks around. By Monday, there was migrating flocks of Canadas all over the place.
Yeah.
So the push was on. Of course, we had that storm midweek last week that probably stalled things out just a little bit. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's been some snow geese dipping into the southern part of North Dakota, and of course across South Dakota, still Nebraska, Missouri, and I know guys are still shooting them in Arkansas, just like every year. Right. They're strung out. But if you want to go play in the mud, might be time to get the trailer loaded up and start putting some windshield time in, looking for those birds out there. All right, and then coming up in April, don't forget the SJR 500. It's the third annual Rainy River Fishing Tournament, April 9th and 10th. David, I would cancel your trip. I don't care what your wife says. Or who is it, your cousin's wedding or something?
Wedding.
It's her cousin's. Well, you're free then. Let's go.
Yeah.
Does she listen to the
Republic,
show?
Rainy River. I'd rather go to the Rainy River.
Does she listen to the show? Or can we rip this, or are we going to all get in trouble?
Yeah. Or are you going to get in trouble?
I'll probably get in trouble.
She listens. Okay, well, I don't want to make people. But if she doesn't listen, it's a free for all. It's game on.
I can't believe you're going to miss it.
I know.
It's a fun tournament. Riverbend Resort up at the Rainy River will be up there with prizes for biggest walleye and biggest sturgeon, and then biggest non-walleye or sturgeon. So it's usually a sucker that usually ends up winning that. Man, didn't we catch a pile of suckers last year too up there?
Yeah.
Like all the boats caught, some of the sturgeon boats got just piles and piles of suckers.
Yeah. We tried to sturgeon fish the one day last year, and all we caught were suckers.
Suckers and burbot last year.
All we caught were sturgeon. Guess we're better.
Yeah, as you were walleye fishing, you
No.
tried to catch sturgeon.
Well,
Yes, we did.
I caught one trying to catch a sturgeon.
Oh, did you?
I was on sturgeon.
Oh, yeah.
gear.
That's the one that went into the ice.
Yeah. 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 When you guys are supposed to be there with the net. By the way, if you watch that video,
Answer your phone.
yeah, you'll hear us calling you.
Yeah.
You're
For
like
the
the
net.
you're the one guy in the world who, hey, you're like one of the only people who ever calls me. It's like you and my dad, the only people that ever call me. And I could bet money if I had to pick one person in my contacts, if I call him, unless it's my mom at midnight, she'll answer. David Eckhardt will be the one to answer the phone. The one time I ever call you and desperately need
If I
you.
remember right, I was fighting a fish as well when you called me.
I don't care.
Excuses. Yeah.
Answer the phone.
I was busy.
Do better. So that was our plan. Like we were just going to sturgeon fish a little bit, so we didn't have a sturgeon net with us, but we were fishing next to you, and you were with Scott, weren't you?
Yep.
We were fishing next to you and Scott the whole time, and like, well, if we catch one, they'll just zip over at the net or something quick, and we'll use their big muskie or sturgeon net, whatever it was.
Net.
And and Jamie Dittman was going to give us a net. We were going to borrow a net from Jamie, and I'm like, we'll just use David or Scott's or whoever's net and fish by him. Yeah, the one time we split up. And just like trying to land, it was a 61-inch fish. It was a big sturgeon. And there's a boat watching us and just heckling us the whole time because we were trying to grab the tail and lift this 60-pound fish into the boat. But we finally did it to a round of cheering and applause and boat horns up and down the Rainy River. It's a good time, man. Make your plans now and check the Fish Donkey app for the Fish Donkey app for the SJR 500 at Riverbend Resort. You don't have to stay at Riverbend, but that's where we headquarter out of. So you should come there and join us. We'll be doing happy hours and prizes, and we'll do the podcast at Riverbend. You can come be a part of the show. April 9th and 10th. Find out more information at sportingjournalradio.com. All right, we got to get the winner of the bracket contest that we did and talk about, should fishing tournaments require polygraph tests? A recent tournament had some negative publicity about polygraph tests to disqualify the second and third place angler. They deny that they were cheating, of course. We'll tell that story when we come back on Sporting Journal Radio. It doesn't get much better than fresh perch and fresh walleye. If you're looking for an exciting winter fishing destination, come to Devil's Lake, North Dakota. Haybale Heights Campground and Resort is on the ice with a fleet of snow bears, keeping you mobile and warm so you can stay on the roaming schools of fish. Haybale Heights on the east end of Devil's Lake has knowledgeable guides, comfortable cabins, and their own lake access, making your trip as successful and stress-free as possible. To book your trip, go to haybaleheights.com. That's haybaleheights.com. We're back. This is Sporting Journal Radio. I'm Bret Amundson. Thanks for watching or listening wherever you are, along with Dan Amundson and David Eckhardt. Before the break there, we talked about our tournament up in the Rainy River, the SJR 500. We want that to be a fun tournament, just a good time. I mean, there are some cash prizes for big fish, but it's not huge prize money because I don't want it to be such a big tournament that people cheat. There's nothing worse than thieves or cheaters. And I don't want anyone ever to feel like they need to cheat to try to win something in our tournament. We give away a bunch of cool prizes and some cash. We donate to the Keep It Clean. I should have mentioned that too. We will donate 25% of the money coming in for the tournament to the Keep It Clean program. Again, this year. We did it last year as well too. Yeah! And Fish Donkey's got some rules. We've got some rules about how the tournament will be run to try to discourage cheating. But this story came out of, I think it's somewhere at the East Coast, somewhere in the Salt. Outdoor Life shared this. Anglers disqualified from bluefin tournament. They lose $32,000, and they say that mandatory polygraphs are BS. He says, who wants to be called a liar when you know you're doing the right thing? So Benny Sheen and Tim Volley, who were competitors, they weren't fishing together. They told reporters last week that they caught their fish fair and square. Both men say they still don't understand how they failed the local tournament's lie detector tests, which are mandatory for any angler who finishes in the top 3 spots. Sheen would have taken first place and won $25,000, while Volley would have taken second place and won 75 grand. The third and fourth place finishers ended up taking first and second as a result. So the top three finishers are required to take polygraph tests. And they, obviously somebody that gets caught cheating is they're going to, oh no, I didn't cheat. Of course they're going to lie about it. But if they truly failed a polygraph yet didn't cheat, that's a serious issue. But how else do you discourage people from cheating in these tournaments? Right? Like what?
Yeah. You're going to open up a whole other can of worms there. Unless you're going to put a marshal in every boat, but there's nobody who's going to be able to afford that. To pay the marshals or find however many boats you have, volunteers, stuff like that. It's just, it is what it is. I feel like at every level of tournaments, there has to be some form of honesty and discrepancy. Even like watch some of the bass elites. There'll be instances where there's cameras in some of those boats, but not everybody has someone with them. Not everyone has a camera with them. There's usually going to be somebody watching, but you'll hear of instances where these guys realize they screwed up and they're going to call the tournament director and admit it. And I know that's their job, so they got to handle things a little differently, but there has to be some form of integrity across the sport. And it comes back to self-policing and a lot of the stuff we've talked about on a lot of different issues, but we have to take care of ourselves before we make other people take care of us.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, it's just gonna end fishing tournaments. That's what's gonna end up happening. It's like that tournament we talked about on, what was it, Osakis? Last week or the week before, where they finally said, if people are going to complain about how we run this tournament as much as they have been, we'll just stop doing it. Like, it's not worth it. And that's not what we want for our tournament. We just want it to be some kind of a fun party, hanging out, give people a little bit of something to fish for, and maybe if we end up having issues, we just turn it into a party. Come join us. We'll just do random prize drawings at the bar.
Right.
Or if you catch a fish. Yeah, I don't see. I would just take the catching out of it if it ever got to that point. But thankfully,
that's because you can't catch fish.
That's one of the nice things about the Fish Donkey app is, you have to take the pictures of the hero shot and the releasing of the fish and the video of releasing the fish. And
it's really hard to cheat in a catch, record, release tournament.
Yeah,
or catch, photo, release, whatever you want to call it.
Because there's no weights involved, so it's not like you can stuff them.
Yeah. I know I tried that last year to help. We're just measuring these things? Dang it. No.
I don't know what you mean, but it has the cadence of a joke.
Yeah. Thanks, Bert. So
I just had to get that in there.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. I don't have any time for cheaters and or thieves, things like that. It just drives me absolutely bonkers. But anyway, hopefully those guys, if they didn't cheat and they failed those polygraphs, hopefully they get it worked out. I don't know how they're going to figure that out. But without polygraphs, I don't know what else you do to discourage cheating. If you have an idea, comment below. We'd appreciate it. All right. With the Wild Sheep Foundation, the Midwest chapter of the Wild Sheep Foundation annual banquet and fundraiser is coming up March 15th and 16th at the Minneapolis Marriott Minnetonka. This is a good party. This is always a good time. And they've got some cool people. A couple of guys from the Hunt and Fool are going to be there. Austin Atkinson, Robert Hanneman. They always have some big mounts. They've got a bunch of booths and vendors from safari hunts to local taxidermists and local hunting outfitters and guides and things like that. It's a neat place, and I've seen some of the coolest mounts. In fact, the guy that did my wolf mount back there, that's where I met him, was at the Midwest chapter of the Wild Sheep Foundation banquet a couple of years back. And he just had some really cool stuff. They're going to be giving away 2 youth statewide South Dakota turkey tags, and then they've got the big 3 on the auction, North and South Dakota and Wyoming bighorn sheep tag. Find out more about the Midwest chapter of the Wild Sheep Foundation annual banquet and fundraiser March 15th and 16th at MidwestWildSheep.com. Speaking of giving away stuff, Dan, we have to find a winner for our bracket contest.
Yes, we do. We have the winning feeling, and it came down to 2 dead stick options. It came down to the rattle of the rattle reel.
Yeah, explain the bracket one more time.
Well, we decided to come up with to decide what the best feeling while ice fishing was. We came up with 16 great feelings while ice fishing, everything ranging from a flag going up to the fire department not showing up to not losing your phone, blah, blah, blah. And it came down, the old championship was when the bobber goes down or when you hear the rattle of the rattle reel. And the bobber won. The silent bobber won. I think people are crazy. But I didn't choose, the people chose. So the way it worked, the way we were going to pick a winner out of our contestants was if at the beginning, if somebody said they picked that winner, the bobber, we would draw a winner. So David, I need you, we've narrowed it down to 2. How do we want to do this? We want to pick a number? 1 or 2?
1.
Sure.
All right, number 1. Nate Orr is our winner.
Hey.
Congratulations, Nate. I was going to do the tippity, but there we go. There's noise.
Very anticlimactic.
Yeah. There we go. We'll get a hold of you or send us a message, but congratulations. We'll do this bracket again, maybe with some spring open water turkey hunting things. If people have bracket ideas, if someone wants to make a bracket for us, and we'll...
Yeah, that was kind of fun. That was a neat idea. We should do that again. What should be the next bracket idea, you think?
Fishing opener related? When your boat starts?
Like top 10 fails of fishing opener?
When your batteries are charged up?
Yeah, when you forget to put the plug in. When your net man dumps big fish, the hole.
What are you trying to say, Dan?
Didn't say anything. I just coming up with ideas. You're taking it how you want to take it. Yeah, there's a lot of ideas. Or turkey hunting when you hear that first gobble, whatever. A lot of cool things coming up in spring. I sometimes think spring's better than fall.
You shut your mouth.
You can hunt. You can fish.
Yeah.
Snow goose season.
You can do all that in the fall.
Okay, so why is fall better then?
Because you can hunt way more stuff in the fall. Not just turkeys or snow geese.
Oh, those are 2 pretty cool things.
You can hunt deer, you can hunt pheasants, you can hunt turkeys, you can hunt snow geese.
Okay, good to have fun turkey hunting in the fall.
You can hunt elk, you can hunt big game, you can hunt all kinds of stuff. Ducks. Fall. You will never convince me that spring is better than fall. Not once. Fishing is pretty amazing in the fall if you take the time to do that sort of crazy thing. But yeah.
Anywho.
All right. So Nate, we will DM you on Instagram. Or where
I don't remember where he sent us a message. I'll track down where he, because you could enter 3 different ways: YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram. We'll track you down.
So go check that out,
or track us down,
and follow Sporting Journal Radio on all the social channels as well for our next bracket contest coming to Sporting Journal Radio. Hey, by the way, our new truck sponsor is Invergrove Toyota, and they got a deal going on Tundras right now. 4.99% APR for 60 months on all 2024 Tundras on approved credit. Don't miss out. It's a better interest deal than I have in my truck right now, so I might be stopping back into Invergrove Toyota. They sold that really nice black one that was on the showroom, but they're building another one that they'll have there. Otherwise, right now, they've got a 1794 edition. It commemorates the founding of the Texas ranch that's currently the site of the Toyota assembly plant in San Antonio, where the Tundra pickup truck is built. The 1794 Tundra reflects a Western theme with unique saddle brown leather upholstery and imitation suede inserts, and matching leather bits on the shift console, door trim, and instrument panel. See that right now at Invergrove Toyota, right off of Robert Street, 494 in Invergrove Heights. All right, we are going to talk Deer Classic with Eric Meyer and find out how the ice is up at Lake of the Woods with Joe Henry, all coming up on Sporting Journal Radio. 852 million acres of public land, 147 million private properties, all in the palm of your hand. The #1 hunting GPS app just got better. With hundreds of custom map layers, 3D and topographic maps, you can easily scout on the road or at home before you go. And now you can get important weather details, CWD detection, and even know what crops have been planted where. Get the most trusted hunting GPS app ever made. OnX. Know where you stand with OnX. Now it's time to check in with Joe Henry up at Lake of the Woods, talk about ice fishing. Still ice fishing, of course. We had a couple of cold days here this week, and I saw some pictures from that storm and all the snow that they got up there, too. It is definitely still winter at Lake of the Woods. Joe, how's it going?
Hey, guys, I'm doing well. You know what, I'll tell you, you're right, Brett. It's still winter up on the border. I don't care what the Twin Cities news stations show you. I don't care. When you look out your window, and you don't see any snow, and you see robins and cardinals, it's still winter on the border, and that means that ice fishing's in full gear. You know, I can tell you that on Tuesday evening, it was 15 below zero at night. I know on Wednesday evening, it's going to be 10 below zero. We still have ice. And, you know, we have, Of course, I always preface, you work with a resort or outfitter and you stay on their roads, and they know their roads because they're checking them multiple times per day, their ice roads. You know what you do? You go by their rules. They know what the weight limits are, what the restrictions are. But I'll tell you what, they're still, letting big pickups out with wheelhouses. The resort houses are still out. Sleeper fish houses are still out. In many places, there's 2 feet of ice. There's not 2 feet everywhere. I didn't say everywhere there is, but the point of it is that it's still game on up at Lake of the Woods. And if you want to get some ice fishing this winter, and if you don't take my word for it, like my brothers say, Joe, how can the fish always be biting at Lake of the Woods? Well, it's because they really are somewhere. They're always biting somewhere. And I'm not going to talk about where they're not biting. I'm going to talk about where they're biting, right? But you know what? It's been an incredible ice fishing year. A lot of the resorts, longtime resorters will tell you, one of the best ice and fishing years I ever remember. And that's pretty much across the lake, you guys. So, and I'll tell you the other thing, too. I'm going to give you a little tip, something to think about.
Well,
tell you what, those fish, they're out in front of that south shore, and they're not that far out. You know what that's setting us up for the Minnesota fishing opener and the jig bite?
It's going to be good.
That's going to be loaded.
Mm-hmm. Well, Joe, when we were just up there, you can see the video right now on the Fish Hunt Forever YouTube channel. We were up there, David, what was that, 2 weeks ago now or so, something like that. And it was still, we had a weather change. It slowed things down a little bit. But like I said in the video, even when things are slow at Lake of the Woods, you still catch. We caught a limit of fish the first day, and then we were a little pickier on the second day, and we lost a couple of slot fish at the hole. And we were not far from Pine Island. Like, we were only a couple of miles out, so we were pretty close to that south shore, and had a good trip. Well,
I'll tell you, you're spot on. And those fish, they're plentiful. And we talked about it last year, and I kind of kid about it, but last year there was a number of experts on Facebook that declared that Lake of the Woods is getting fished out. We just shook our heads. We know the data. Every year is different. There's a lot of ecological things going on every year, from water pushing through the system, pushing forage north, to what bait fish, and there's so many things going on. And last year they couldn't catch as many fish as they wanted to, and this year, of course, it's some of the best fishing ever. So now when I put a picture out full of, got a group of people with a limit of walleyes, well, that's quite a few walleyes in the fish cleaning table. Boy, and then you get the haters saying you're keeping too many fish, you shouldn't keep that many fish, and it just never ends, But yeah. But I say that because fishing has been really, really good. There's that example. Oh yeah, I got a lot of fish. Jeez. But that's a whole group. That's a whole company of people that were up there.
Oh yeah.
That's happening every day in Lake of the Woods. It has been for years. Yeah. So I think that speaks to how prolific Lake of the Woods is, and why they call Lake of the Woods one of the crown jewels of Minnesota, is because the natural reproduction of Lake of the Woods. You guys, we have, when you think about Lake of the Woods, we have over 1 million acres of water, and we have over 65,000 miles of shoreline. Now, when you think about that much shoreline, and of course you get your Rainy River where they spawn, and other rivers where they spawn in addition to that, what that does is that adds diversification to the spawning. So imagine if every walleye spawned in the Rainy River, and if they laid their eggs, and all of a sudden we got cold water that came in for the next week and killed all the eggs, we'd be in trouble, wouldn't we? Well, isn't it nice that we have so much spawning area? And you'll have one area, maybe the Rainy River will be spawning this week, yet they're still catching walleyes up north that are still still have eggs in them. Heck, oftentimes, and I don't know what the disparity between dates when they spawn in Lake of the Woods really is, but I know for a fact that the walleyes will have spawned in some cases 2 weeks ago, and they're still catching walleyes up north that haven't spawned yet. That's good for the whole system, because it spreads everything out, right?
Well, I don't know if you watch the video. It's a kind of a longer video that we put on the YouTube channel, but you have to go to the end of it. And we stayed in a sleeper while we were up there. And I mean, we want to catch walleyes, of course. That's what you go to Lake of the Woods for. But we really wanted to catch a burbot. And David, I've watched that video, and it sure looked like a burbot on the live scope.
Yeah.
And we worked that. I hooked it and then lost it. And then it went down and chased you up and down for a while. And then it chased me up and down for a while.
Yeah, we worked that fish for a long time.
Yeah, it was at least 5. You said in the video 5 minutes, I think, but I think it was at least 5 videos Five videos. That's how long it was. We filmed 5 videos in the time we worked at fish. It was a long time, and we ended up losing it, but we did have one chance, and I blew it like usual. But and obviously world record, state record bourbon, maybe world record bourbon in there, maybe. I don't know. But obviously some big fish in there. So
do you guys know how big the state record bourbon is? Out of Lake of the Woods,
like 19 pounds or something, isn't it?
That little over 19 and a half pounds. Yep. And that record beat the previous record that just had happened like a year or so before. I mean, there's some big pout in Lake of the Woods. And the other thing is funny is sometimes when you go after bourbon you don't catch them, but when you're just walleye fishing, then you catch them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's like jigging for walleyes on the Rainy River and you hook a sturgeon.
Right.
A lot of times it's bycatch. And Joe, as much as I'd be happy to go up there and do some more ice fishing because the ice is still good in spots there, I am excited about the Rainy River and spring fishing on the Rainy River. And of course our tournament's coming up April 9th and 10th. We'll have that up on the Fish Donkey app here. And you guys just put some Rainy River info on your website?
Yeah. So every year the DNR, Minnesota DNR, comes out with spring fishing information, and it's good. It's a sheet that talks about, what your limits are. The sturgeon seasons changes quite a bit. It goes from a catch and release to a keep, to a catch and release, to a keep, to a closed season. And they mix the dates up a little bit. But, all that information's on there. It does a nice job of talking about the different boat ramps up at Lake of the Woods on the Rainy River. And it's just a good info sheet. But, we just came out with an article, with that in it. And then we put that on our website as well. And but it's good. If you're not overly familiar with the Rainy River and all the limits and stuff, it's not a long deal, but it's very, very informative.
One thing we never really think about because we don't fish the river in the winter, but what we were talking about this the other day. What are the fish limits in the before they change to spring limits on the Rainy River? Is it just same as the lake, like 4 walleyes?
No. Well, so here's what it is. So up until March 1st, the limit on the river is the same as the lake and 4 Mile Bay. It's a combined limit of 6 fish. Up to 4 of those 6 can be walleyes. And of course, there's a slot limit, 19 and a half to 28 inches. You have to release those fish. You can keep 1 over 28. Now, once March 1 hits, 4 Mile Bay and the Rainy River are catch and release only. And the lake is still keep. So come March 1st, you can keep them on the lake. 4 Mile Bay and Rainy River are catch and release only. And then the walleye and sauger season goes through April 14th. The pike season never closes. So, and of course, fish houses are allowed on Lake of the Woods through March 31st. That's a whole extra month or more than the rest of the state. So we really do have an extended ice fishing season. And everything was so warm, right?
Yeah.
Well, now with the 15 below and the 10 below, and we're hanging on, and that's not unusual. Some Marches are more like winter than they are melting. We've had both, but as long as we get those overnight lows, and now like 15 and 10 below, that really helps even build more ice.
Yeah.
So we could be fishing for good few weeks yet. Mother Nature will tell, right?
Yeah. Well, this is Minnesota. You got state high school basketball tournaments coming up, so we've got a lot of snowstorms coming yet.
Yeah, right.
And I've got a bunch of sports shows that I got to travel to, so I know I'll be driving through some blizzard. And Joe, I know you got the Fargo Sports Show this weekend and Sioux Falls coming up in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So if you're in Fargo this coming weekend, in fact, I think the dates are the 29th of February through Sunday, the 3rd of March. That's for the Fargo. That's at the Fargo Dome. I'll be doing seminars on walleye fishing, pulling spinners. I'll also be doing seminars on multi-species success anywhere you fish. And then I'll be and have a booth. And then the 14th of March through the 17th of March is Sioux Falls, and that's at the Sioux Falls Convention Center. Both are really good shows, and if you're in those areas, go check them out. Plus, you got the retailers, the boat dealers, RV dealers, lots of destinations. They sell some really cool stuff like homemade barbecue sauce and salsa. I sometimes I know in Fargo and Sioux Falls, Jason Mitchell is going to be giving seminars as well as myself. So he's always a great source of information, fun to listen to. And so a lot happening,
Absolutely. All right, Joe. Well, if people want to start thinking about spring on the Rainy River or sneak in a late winter ice fishing trip, where should they find out more information?
You know what? Current information is on our Facebook page, Lake of the Woods Tourism. Otherwise, check out our website, and that is lakeofthewoodsmn.com.
Very good. Thank you very much, Joe.
Lake of the Woods, the walleye capital of the world, is calling out to you. From the northwest angle to the South Shore and Rainy River, this is the Midwest's #1 ice fishing destination. Walleye, sauger, perch, northern pike, and eelpout. The fishing on Lake of the Woods is like a world of its own. Experience the most amazing fishing through one of the many full-service resorts featuring heated fish houses, ice transportation, meal plans, and sleeper fish house options. For more information, go to lakeofthewoodsmn.com.
All right, now we're going to talk about the Minnesota Deer and Turkey Classic. It's coming up March 8th, 9th, and 10th at Canterbury Park in Shakopee. Eric Meyer joins us again on the show this year. Eric, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
You ready to go?
I'm ready.
How do you like
mounts up there already? So
are you? Yeah, I'm sure. That's how many mounts are in that building when the show's going on?
Well, last year we took in 220 antler entries for scoring, which most of them stayed on display for the weekend. The year prior, in 2022, because of the pandemic, we had 350. We have a 68-foot wall, and it's covered on both sides. That's head mounts, sheds, bear skulls, and now this year we're going to have a bunch of big elk from Minnesota, all Minnesota animals.
Oh yeah, that brother and sister that shot those big elk, right? They're going to be there?
Right, yeah. Gary and his sister's name's Charlene, and Gary's bull is going to come in at number 2 at 413 inches, 413 and 7/8. Net non-typical will be number 2 non-typical. And then the sister, she shot hers a 7x7, that's 367. And it would be number 3 all-time typical in the state.
It's still insane to me that we have those animals in Minnesota.
Yeah, those are monsters anywhere, and I think they have 15 tags that they give out, and that includes some cow tags.
Yeah, it used to be a few more, but they dropped it last fall. But we had the chance to go up and film a Prairie Sportsman episode with Scott Moon and filmed some, and Evan Bernstrom, actually, he shot a real nice elk up there last fall. So that was a pretty neat experience. And I'm looking forward to seeing those big elk, because I remember when that happened and seeing the pictures of those animals and just massive. So those will be shoulder mounts at the Deer Class.
Yep, he just sent me a shot of his bull. It was been drying for the last few days, so it's going to be ready to roll, and I'm going to have to add a little bit more reinforcements on that wall, because those 2 bulls are going to be heavy duty. Well, here's a shot right out of the show program. You can see that bulls there.
Yeah. Wow. And that picture next to him too, that's that buck that guy found down southeastern Minnesota.
Yeah, it's the new state record. Let's see if I can do this right. Yeah, it's broke a 49-year record. It nets 277, net non-typical, and it's a found year. He found it, so there's a separate division for that category of found. The largest one prior to this that held it for 49 years is a 269-incher from Ada. A young 17-year-old kid shot it back in the 70s, and it was his first time hunting with his new slug gun, and the neighbors were doing a push, and they pushed his state record right into him. Buck will be on display too.
That's crazy. And I don't like thinking about the 70s being 49 years ago, by the way, just throwing that out there.
It's also insane to me that we have whitetails that big too.
Right?
Like
in Ada, like in a big one in Ada.
Right.
You know, you think about southeastern Minnesota or maybe Otter Tail County or something. Like, I guess Ada is probably not too far from Otter Tail, but I don't know what county that would be exactly.
Yeah, that's
but either way.
Yeah, or buck right there.
That's the Ada one? Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
These are just a few of them that I have about 40 on the Legends wall, and we're bringing in some current ones that are giants, so it should be good.
Norman County. Sorry, I had to look that up. It was driving me crazy. That's nice. Those are, man, great animals. All right, and that location, Eric, that's just been a great spot there in Shakopee, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's so easy to get to, right off 169. It's all freeway right to it. They have a massive parking lot, and it's free parking, which is, most shows these days you pay more for parking than you pay to get into the show. And it's set up real, there's 3 sections to the venue, and it's spread out a little bit, but it gives it enough space to get a good lineup of exhibitors. They have great, food booths. They have entertainment. They have the casino there. So everything about it is it's a fun atmosphere.
Yeah, big spaces and that parking makes such a big deal. I think it's nice. All right, we got to take a quick break. More with Eric Meyer when we come back from the Minnesota Deer Classic.
Don't miss the 2024 Minnesota Deer and Turkey Classic, presented by Select Heartland Chevy Dealers at Canterbury Park in Shakopee, March 8th, 9th, and 10th. This year's Classic features top hunting celebrities like Pat Nicole Reeve of Driven TV, Melissa Bachman of Winchester Deadly Passion TV, and legendary bow hunter Barry Wenzel. Get your antlers scored, view more than 300 antler entries, and see the latest hunting products, plus a great lineup of lodges and outfitters. Learn more about the Minnesota Deer and Turkey Classic, March 8th, 9th, and 10th at Canterbury Park in Shakopee at mndeerclassic.com.
We're back. This is Sporting Journal Radio. Thanks for tuning in on the network by demand, sportingjournalradio.com, or maybe you're watching this on YouTube. And if you are, you're getting a chance to see some of these big animals that are going to be on display at the Minnesota Deer and Turkey Classic coming up March 8th, 9th, and 10th at Canterbury Park in Shakopee. I'll be out there from 11 to 1 on Saturday, March 9th. So stop out and say hi. I might have some free stuff for you. So stop by and see me. I'll be right inside the entrance there. Eric Meyer is with us right now. And Eric, what are some of the other things that people will be able to see at the Deer Classic this year?
Well, we have a full lineup of seminars that will be going on with headliners Pat and Nicole Reeve from Driven TV, Melissa Bachman, she'll be back from Winchester Deadly Passions. We got an old timer, Barry Wenzel. He's coming in to talk about his all of his tips and tricks to getting those monster bucks. We got a new guy, Jared Mills, coming in, talk about food plots, and Jeff Frederick will be talking about turkey decoys and decoying, and the do's and don'ts with setting up decoys. So that's a seminar lineup, and then we have a great area for the kids. It's real family oriented, the show. We have a whole section that's just dedicated to kids events so they can experience shooting a bow for the first time. We got a BB gun shooting range and trout fishing. Each kid that shows up at the NWT booth, the first 30 kids each day at the NWT booth receive a free slate call.
Oh, cool.
And so the kids get some freebies from various booths, and they get to experience some of these different shooting deals that we got going on. We have an archery range that's all Nerf targets, and they shoot at a Nerf ball that floats on air, so it's pretty safe stuff. So a lot of kids stuff.
Yeah, I was a little jealous, Eric. I just want to say, I filmed a walkthrough at the event last year. You can see that on the homepage of the Minnesota Deer and Turkey Classic, mndeerclassic.com. You can see my walkthrough video there, or on the Fish Hunt Forever YouTube channel. But I went by that trout pond, and it took everything in me not to grab a rod and start fishing. Yeah,
it's great. We have it's all free too for the kids. Or adults, so you can go in there and fish with your kid, no problem. And we don't charge anything for it. It's all catch and release, but it's a room on its own, and the kids can go off and try these different events. So that's just one part of the show. There's a lot of great things happening. I have I have a couple big walls. One is of the Outdoor News Best Buck winners. It's a photo contest that we have in the Outdoor News, and I actually am the photo manager at Outdoor News as well. So I picked all these shots, and they're in poster form. And then we Lone Wolf Custom Gear donated some trail cams that were given away for the trail cam contest, and right now I have about 80 entries, so they'll be posted on those walls too.
And there's some different free things or free stuff for people. There's a ladies' night on Friday, March 8th.
Yeah, from 4 to 9. We encourage all ladies to come down, and Wildlife Research Center has put a nice little package of their products together for the ladies as well. The first 50 through the door from 4 to 9 receive that prize package, and it's all free admission for all the gals. So come on down.
And then people can bring their antlers in to get scored, right? And that's all free? How does that work?
No. Well,
it's not free.
The antler scoring, no, it's worked into the admission fee. When you bring in, like if you brought in a buck to have scored, it's $15, and that includes one scoring and admission. Now, if you bring the deer, the antlers in on Friday and leave it till Sunday, I throw you in a drawing for about 50 prizes, one being a gearhead compound bow worth about $2,000. But you can see all that stuff on the website, all the prizes. Now, if you take the top 3 winners in each division, there's 40 divisions that we score on, will receive a ribbon, but you have to be there Sunday at 1 o'clock to receive the ribbons and to get in on the drawing. If you do take first place in the division, I have a River's Edge hang-on tree stand that goes with the first place ribbon. But there again, you have to be present. There. Yeah, the idea is to keep these bucks around. The first couple of years I did this, guys would come in and have them scored and then leave, and it was those bucks are the show as far as I'm concerned. All these current bucks that are coming in, that's what people want to see. So I really work hard to pull in the big ones, and it should be a pretty impressive spread of bucks this year.
Sure. Well, it's the Minnesota Deer and Turkey Classic, March 8th, 9th, and 10th, Canterbury Park and Shakopee. You can save $2 off admission by subscribing to the newsletter. Is that right?
Yeah, you can go online and you subscribe to the newsletter, and you just print the copy off. The latest edition of Outdoor News, I have a full-page ad in there with the coupon in it as well. And we also have the latest show. Well, the show program is printed on the center spread of Outdoor News this week. So if you want to, check out everything early, if you get a copy of Outdoor News, it's all right there. Or go to the website. We got everything covered on the website.
Sure. mndeerclassic.com is the website. Again, I'll be there March 9th, 11 to 1, Saturday, right inside the main entrance there. Eric Meyer, good luck this year, and we'll see you at the show.
Yeah, thank you. We'll see you out there.
Sporting Journal Radio is a division of Macaba LLC. If you've got a question, comment, or story idea for us, send us an email. Go to sportingjournalradio.com. While you're there, you can learn how to advertise on the show and visit our store for hats, hoodies, coffee mugs, and more. Go to sportingjournalradio.com.